Welcome back to the deep dive. If you've been with us, you know we're journeying through Eugene McMillan's autobiography, Vagabond on Victory Road.
That's right. This is our seventh look into his story, and today we're diving into chapter 7.
We're picking up right where Eugene continues his travels, riding the rails across America.
At chapter 7, much like the others, it really doesn't shy away from the harshness of it all, but you also get these glimpses of humanity, community, and what Eugene sees as, well, divine help.
Definitely. We're using excerpts from this chapter for our deep dive today, and our goal really is to unpack this phase of his travels.
Yeah, everything from the basic grinding needs like hunger and cold, to the really interesting people he meets.
And those small, sometimes surprising moments that, maybe gave him a bit of hope or showed something unexpected about that world.
And it kicks off immediately with hunger. Just raw hunger. Eugene needs food, like now, before catching a freight train later that day. And he has zero money.
It's a tough spot, and he really lays bare that internal struggle. He writes, "To beg, I was ashamed." You can feel that, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. It goes against everything. His pride, his dignity. But he's got no time, no other choice. So he decides, okay, one house. Just one try.
He talks about how nervous he was walking up to this large house, wondering who'd answer.
And the door opens. And it's this short man. Sad-faced, graying hair, dressed in priestly clothes.
You might expect, maybe, a bit more sympathy from someone dressed like that.
You might think so, but nope. The man's impatient right away.
Yeah.
Yes, what is it? Cuts Eugene off before he can even really explain.
Eugene notices the reaction instantly, the lowered eyebrows, the frown, like he's just another pestering tramp.
Yeah, making trouble. So the man goes back inside, leaves Eugene waiting there on the porch.
And Eugene's mind is racing. He figures the wait is long enough for a whole banquet to be made. He's hoping, maybe desperately hoping for something substantial, a whopping package.
But then the door opens again. And the reality is, well, it's stark. The man comes back holding this tiny shriveled paper bag, just pinching it between his fingers.
Hands it over coolly, doesn't say much, closes the door fast.
And what's inside? Two thin, hard heels of, as Eugene puts it, ancient bread. And a shriveled apple, like the size of a golf ball.
Wow, that's minimal. A far cry from the banquet, he'd imagine.
It really is such a contrast between the hope and the reality.
But what got me was Eugene's reaction. He doesn't get angry, not bitter. He writes, he didn't blame the man, thought maybe that was all he had.
Right. And even though he's starving, and it's barely anything, he says he was glad to get it, ate it heartily and gratefully.
That gratitude, even for so little, it's a real theme, isn't it? It says a lot about him, maybe about how constant need shapes your view.
It really does. Even those scraps are something when you have absolutely nothing.
So, fueled by that tiny meal, he keeps going. As the sun sets, he describes it beautifully. A huge purplish red ball. They manage to get onto an eastbound freight.
And he's got company now. Raleigh the cowpoke and another guy, Tom.
They find a spot for the night. Sounds kind of strange, but secure the ice compartment of a refrigerator car.
Yeah, but it's winter, so no ice in there. Just some shelter from the wind, I guess.
Their journey stops near the Papago Indian Reservation in Arizona. Cold desert night.
But they find this old man selling hot coffee and cakes. And the detail about the coffee served in empty beer cans.
Paints a picture, right? Eugene figures he must only sell to hobos.
Exactly. But this stop turns tense. While Eugene's getting his coffee and cake, the train just starts moving. Unexpectedly.
Oh, man. He has to react fast, shoves the cake in his pocket, runs, grabs onto the freezing cold ladder.
Hauls himself up, spilling hot coffee on his hand. It just shows you the danger, the constant need to be ready.
Up on the catwalk, freezing cold, he finishes his midnight repast, as he calls it.
But even then, he notices the beauty. The sparkling white diamond sand in the moonlight. The tumbleweeds rolling past like ghosts.
Still taking it in, even in that situation. Then he climbs back down into their little hideout, the refrigerator car, their Pullman.
And it's around here he picks up a nickname. The Carolina Kid.
Ah, right. He mentions that was common, using state names for identities. Sort of a quick handle in a transient world.
Yeah, it gives you a tag when maybe you don't want to share much else.
So the Carolina Kid, Raleigh, and Tom arrive in Tucson, Arizona next morning. Bright and early, he says.
Tucson was interesting, but not that big back then, during the Depression.
They walk around downtown. Tom's got this heavy pack, leather gear and stuff.
And Eugene and Raleigh help carry it, using this horsehair rope slung over their shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Eugene says it was painful, really bitten to their skin. Shows that shared burden, though.
Definitely. And they're not just focused on survival, they're actually looking around. Window shopping, he calls it.
Right. Interesting and cheap, taking in the sights, even if they can't buy anything.
He also mentions a practical problem: his socks were falling apart.
Oh, yeah. Needed replacing for necessity and social decency. Luckily, a friend gave him a pair. Another small bit of help.
Mid-afternoon, they're ready to move on. They hop a fast freight, a red ball, heading for New Mexico.
The boxcar's warm, surprisingly for November, but it's quiet. Like unusually quiet among the 15 or 20 guys in there.
Eugene guesses maybe there was a fight or gambling trouble the day before.
Could be. He mentions the risk, too, sitting in the open doorway, feet dangling out.
And this is where he meets a really memorable character, Lon Fishback, the big gambler, the card shark.
Eugene paints a vivid picture. Tall guy, narrow black mustache, black felt hat, string tie, black coat, western boots.
Looks totally out of place on a freight train, right? Like a professional gambler. Confident.
Exactly. And Gene's wondering, why is this guy, who he'd seen flashing a big roll of greenbacks, riding the rods?
It kind of messes with the simple idea that everyone doing this is completely broke.
Right. And he asks around, and this longtime hobo tells him, oh yeah, Lon Fishback, he's been traveling like this for years.
Which leads to this interesting idea that for some, this life, it can get into one's blood. It's not just necessity anymore.
Eugene admits he's starting to kind of understand that, even though his own reasons are different. It adds this layer of complexity to why people were out there.
And this encounter leads Eugene to act on his faith. He feels he has to talk to Fishback, despite being kind of intimidated.
Takes some courage, I bet. He goes up to him, asks about his soul's salvation, even pulls out his New Testament.
And Fishback just shuts him down, hard. Listen, kid, he says, don't talk to me about that religious stuff.
Tries to pull rank, you know. Calls Eugene young, wet behind the ears, claims he's forgot more than you have ever learned. Real boastful.
It's a harsh rejection. And Eugene notes how similar it sounds to other coarse, proud men he'd met before.
Like that guy in Imperial Valley, or the Yuma gambler. It's a pattern of resistance he keeps hitting. Maybe a kind of cynicism born from tough lives.
Could be. But Eugene's response is interesting. He stays calm, doesn't push it if Fishback doesn't want to hear it, but says he'll pray for him.
Which, predictably, gets laughs and derisive remarks from Fishback and others nearby. A real moment of scorn.
Must have stung, but he seems to just absorb it and stick to his convictions.
Around this time, too, they say goodbye to Tom.
Right. Tom heads off somewhere along the line, wants to settle on a ranch down south, escape those cold Montana winters he mentioned.
Just shows how temporary these connections could be.
Yeah.
People's paths cross, then diverge.
So Eugene and Raleigh press on. Next stop, Lordsburg, New Mexico. Arrive late, around 10 p.m.
And the first thing they need, warmth. It's a cold desert night.
They try the depot first. See that red-hot, pot-bellied stove? Looks inviting.
But nope. Railroad agents run them out pretty quick.
Plan B, the jail. Sometimes hobos could get a bunk there for the night.
They ask the jailer, but get turned away again. Sorry, fellows, we are all filled up.
So, back out in the cold, chattering teeth and hunched shoulders, he writes, trudging back near the railroad cattle pens. Sounds grim.
But they get resourceful. They find these big piles of prickly tumbleweeds.
And decide to burn them. Eugene says they're light, dry, burn like paper.
And here's a great observation. Just the act of gathering the tumbleweeds to feed the fire kept them warm. The effort itself was heating.
Yeah, finding warmth through work, through ingenuity.
Around 1 a.m., another fast train, a red ball, comes through. They catch it, heading for El Paso, Texas. Arrive just as dawn is breaking.
But the light doesn't mean warmth. It's a blue-cold atmosphere. And that feeling hits them again.
Oh, how hungry we were. He stresses it. Always hungry to some degree. It's just constant. No diners on freight trains.
And Raleigh's few cents from Yuma, gone now, so the plan is back to ducking.
Their target. Enough for those big 10-cent packs of cinnamon rolls. Sounds good, actually.
They work out a strategy, split up, take opposite sides of the street, meet back at a corner, hope they can scrape together 10 cents between them.
But Eugene, he really struggles with the begging part, calls it painful. Remembers failing in Yuma with sickly disgust. His heart's just not in it.
And it shows. First try. Eugene gets nothing. Raleigh does a bit better, gets 9 cents.
9 cents. So close. Just only 1 cent more.
Raleigh wants to keep trying, keep begging. They gotta eat, right?
Makes sense. But Eugene pushes back. Not so keen on this begging business, he says.
Raleigh's practical. Yes, but we gotta eat. Eugene wonders, isn't there some other way?
He suggests looking for lost money on the street. Says he found a dime once that way.
Raleigh thinks he's nuts. Crazy, he says. Could take forever. They can't wait that long.
But Eugene insists. Give it a try, at least for a few minutes.
And then something happens, right as he's saying it.
They hear it, that familiar ring of a coin hitting the pavement.
Look around, don't see it at first, but they hear it rolling.
And Eugene says it rolled right to our feet. He just bends down, picks it up, a piece of money.
Not much, he clarifies. Not even a dime or nickel. It's a penny 1 cent, all we needed.
Wow. The timing. You can just imagine Raleigh's face. Eugene describes it as wondering surprise.
Raleigh asks, well, where did that come from?
And Eugene's answer is immediate, shaped by his faith. You heard it hit the street, didn't you? Raleigh says, yep, I sure did.
So Eugene concludes, all right, then it must have come down from above.
That single penny. Exactly what they needed, exactly when they needed it, right at their feet. It's quite a story.
They don't waste any time. Go straight to the store, buy the cinnamon rolls.
Eat them joyfully and thankfully, but also kind of stunned, wondering about the miraculous provision.
For them, it wasn't just luck. Eugene states it plainly. The Lord graciously provided our present need.
It's such a powerful moment, desperation, this unlikely event, and then interpreting it through faith. That penny meant everything.
A real sign of hope, maybe, in the middle of all that hardship.
Yeah. So after eating, feeling maybe a bit better, they head to the El Paso hobo jungle. Eugene says it was the biggest one he'd ever seen. Gives you an idea of how many people were living like this.
And his description. It's rough. Nearly 200 hobos, a dirty, shivering, miserable mass of humanity.
He details the hardship. Men trying to wash in the cold wind from rusty buckets, shaving with broken mirror pieces, faces twisted and grimacing with pain.
He even sees one man trade his sweater for pastries, leaving himself freezing. Just heartbreaking.
Eugene reflects on it, sees it through his spiritual lens, suffering as the bitter fruits of a sinful life, spiritually blind. He quotes Proverbs, "The way of transgressors is hard."
That's his perspective, sure, but he balances it too. He's quick to say not all hobos were like that.
Right. He mentions helpful veterans, especially those who were kind to newcomers, the greenhorns.
Which leads him to this really touching story about the Knights of the Road, something he saw back in Arizona.
Yeah, this family, a man and woman, looking weak and worn, with a tiny babe, needed shelter, looking for an empty boxcar.
But nobody helps them right away. There's hesitation. Maybe because of those unwritten rules about space, claiming spots.
Then this veteran steps up, a savvy, take-charge kind of guy. He sees the situation, talks to the family, finds them an empty car a little ways off, helps them settle in,
But then he does more. He goes back to the main group, gets everyone's attention.
and gives this clear order. Leave that car alone. He even gives the car number. Tells anyone who is thinking of taking it to find somewhere else.
And the amazing part, everyone listened. Never heard a murmur or question about this order, Eugene writes.
It shows this unexpected code of conduct, right? A kind of hierarchy, maybe, but also compassion. Protecting the vulnerable, even in that tough environment. A real community ethic showing through.
Such a contrast to some of the other scenes, then the chapter takes another difficult turn near the end.
Around 2 p.m., they catch a Texas Pacific freight. Think it's a fast one, but it's a local. More stops.
And while they're trying to board it while it's moving, Raleigh gets hurt. Badly.
Yeah.
His knee.
Eugene describes it clearly. Raleigh's foot slips on the ladder stirrup, and the rough edge of the car catches his knee, right into the cap. Just bursts the flesh open.
Oh, awful. Raleigh turns sickly, white, and faint, just clinging to the ladder.
Manages to climb up somehow, then collapses on the catwalk, exhausted and weeping.
And there's almost nothing they can do. First aid is just a strip of cloth from an undershirt to tie around the wound.
Eugene feels helpless. No other comfort to offer him except a few hushed words of sympathy.
So after that local train finally stops somewhere, they have to wait. Hours, apparently, for a mainliner train to come through.
And during that wait, Eugene describes seeing nearly 100 guys spread out along the track, getting ready.
Yeah, it was a strategy they used. Spreading out made it easier, safer for everyone to grab onto the fast-moving mainliner when it came. Another example of that learned communal knowledge of how to survive on the rails.
So looking back at this deep dive into Chapter 7, it's just packed with the realities of that life, isn't it? The constant grind.
Absolutely. That fight against hunger, cold, finding any kind of shelter.
And the people. Such a range. The indifferent priest, the cynical gambler, that mass of struggling men in the jungle.
But also the helpful veteran, the Knights of the Road, protecting that family.
You see these really stark contrasts playing out. Utter desperation, but then gratitude for tiny things. Cynicism, right next to profound faith, like with the penny.
brutal hardship like Raleigh's injury, but also these moments of community rules and kindness emerging.
When you hear these stories, what really stands out to you? Those specific details, the shriveled apple, coffee and beer cans, the painful rope, burning tumbleweeds for warmth, that single penny, the broken mirrors, the veteran's command. How do they make you feel about the reality of that time?
For me, it's the sheer intensity. This chapter really drives home the day-to-day struggle, the precariousness of it all.
hmm But also that resilience, the fact that kindness and faith and these codes of conduct could still exist in such a harsh world.
Eugene's journey is definitely shaping him. These experiences are piling up. We'll have to see what comes next as we continue through Vagabond on Victory Road.
Yeah, there's more to come. And maybe the thought to leave you with from this chapter is about hope. In a world where survival is literally day to day, hour to hour sometimes,
Hmm.
how does a moment like finding that single specific penny, exactly when it's needed most, how does something like that shape how you see the future, your faith, your whole place in the universe?
That's a powerful question, something to definitely mull over until our next deep dive.